it's just a little piece of cloth. We got tons of little pieces of cloth, but it's mostly in scouting. It's a token of our vast experiences. So we go on high adventures, jamborees, camporees, all kind of things, and we collect patches. And when we look back at those patches, of course, it brings us memories of our experiences, and they're also pretty to look at. Okay, Philmont experience through patches, and there's the first patch. Philmont Scout Ranch is what we're gonna mainly talk about today. My little travel log, and it's located in Cimarron, New Mexico. Which, if you've been to Philmont, you've been to Cimarron. And Philmont is one of 3 high adventure bases. Actually, there's a 4th one now. That's not part of my topic tonight. The 3 high adventure bases, and if you've been to all 3, you can earn this patch called the Triple Crown of High Adventure. Number 1, you see, is represented with a bull, as you saw in the first patch. It started in 1938. The land was donated by Wade Phillips. He's an oil baron. He owned Phillips Petroleum, and he donated 40% of his ranch to the Boy Scouts because they were already coming and using he was given permission to use it. So he decided to just donate the land and let them have it. And it was first named Phil Turn. His mansion was called Philmont and his ranch was Philmont, but the Boy Scouts named the first donation of the land Phil Turn. It would be Phil for Wade Phillips and Turn for a good turn. But it didn't take long before they named the whole thing Philmont. Average of 23,000 scouts come to Philmont each year. That's 6,000 a week. Incredible. Largest camp Boy Scouts have. And it's 140,000 acres. That's 219 square miles. And the second high adventure base that I have on here is Sea Base in Florida. 1980 was when it started, and it's represented with a dolphin. And then the third is Northern Tier, which is represented with a loon, because there's many, many loons up there in the boundary waters of Minnesota. And it started in 1923. And so if you've been to all 3 of these high adventures, you can apply and earn this Triple Crown of High Adventure. They have created a Grand Slam, which includes a new high adventure base called the Summit. And I've been there for jamborees, but jamborees don't count. You have to go to the actual Summit High Adventure base to earn the Grand Slam over and above the Triple Crown. And the animal representing the Summit is the black bear, which they have a patch for that too, which I have not earned yet. Iconic Philmont Arrowhead. So all of y'all that raised your hand earlier, you've earned this patch, hopefully. The Philmont Scout Ranch, Cimarron, New Mexico, Arrowhead. You have to earn it by going on a trek, and you have to do a conservation project and participating in a couple of things. And at the end, the closing campfire program here at the headquarters at Cimarron, get presented this Arrowhead patch. First, I'm going to tell you about the iconic felt bull. The black bull you can get to put on your wool jacket. Most of y'all probably have a wool jacket, and if you've gotten the bull, you can put it on there. But here's the tradition. If you get the bull and you have not been on a Philmont trek, you have to sew the tail on facing downwards. But if you have completed a Philmont trek, you can sew the tail up in the air. You see the jacket I have there, the tail's up in the air. So the owner of this jacket has been through a Philmont trek. Here is the frame map that I have. It's 2.5 by 4 feet frame with all the patches that I collected of the places I went to in Philmont. And this is the actual map that we used on the trek. You can see the markings that our ranger marked of the campsites where to go to, the squares, there are events, triangles are unstaffed campsites, and some of the circles are where we're to pick up food along the way. And I got patches to match all the places that we went to. And there is at the bottom middle is my Arrowhead that I earned in 2009. I went twice to Philmont, in 1975 when I was 16 and in 2009 when I was 50 with my son and a group from the Daniel Boone Council. On the right, you see a patch of the map. I thought that was pretty cool. So I got one. It shows several of the mountains and the Tooth of Time. Treks either start north to south or south to north or in the middle and go both ways sometimes. But this map, I'm starting us off in this travel log with Indian writings. In 1975, I started north to south. In 2009, we went south to north. But we're going to Indian writings first, and here's the patch for Indian writings. They have hieroglyphics on the canyon walls at Indian writings. And one thing to notice in all the patches that we're going to go through is you'll see the bar PS, stands for Philmont Scout, or the bar S, and that is the brand for the livestock there. The bar PS is for cattle and the bar S is for horses. And there you see Indian writings at the top right of the map. We hike over and we go to Pawnee Horse and Burro Ranch. I've got a picture of the ranch, and this patch is not an official Philmont patch. It's of Pawnee, and it has the original brand because that was a ranch way before the Scouts had it. And I wanted to show that brand, the bar P for Pawnee. And what we did at Pawnee was we got a burro. You see a Scout with a packed burro. So we gathered our burro and learned how to pack them and take them on our trek for a couple of days. And on the right, you see the Philmont patch for Pawnee, and it has the original Pawnee brand. But on the saddle, you see the bar S for the horse brand. And you'll notice that there's a brand in most all the patches that we're going through. Well, at Pawnee, we had a chance to brand something, and I had my boot branded. So there it is in the middle. You see the bar PS branded right there on my boot from 2009. All right, you see on the map, the arrow moves over and we go to Plebano. This is a really cool campsite. It's where the Continental Tie and Lumber Company was. And now they showed the Scouts all the activities there that lumber companies did. We do the log rolling and the tree climbing. You see, I got a picture of a Scout going up a big pole with the big cleats on. And if you'll notice in the campfire on the patch, you can see they snuck in the bar PS brand. Moving on over a little westward, we hiked into French Henry Camp. And French Henry was a mining town. They had a big old mine shaft that we could go into where they were mining copper, and then we could pan for gold along the river. And the patch for French Henry was this gold pan, and you can see that they snuck in the bar PS brand right there on the patch. Just west of French Henry is a big climb over the highest mountain, the highest peak in Philmont, Old Baldy Mountain, 12,441 feet in elevation. And there's the patch, Philmont Scout Ranch, and it shows Baldy's elevation on the patch. And you can see on the map that it's in the far northwestern corner of the map of Philmont. And you can see by the picture, it's above the tree line. And if you hike up there, you have to be starting down by noon because they a lot of times have lightning storms, and Philmont doesn't allow any troops to be up there past noon. So all the hiking is there in the morning and back down before noon. After you climb over Baldy, you come down. The first camp you come to is called Black Horse. And this was a really cool patch. And it looks like they had an OA trail crew there because they made a patch for the OA trail crew and put an arrow up in the sky over Baldy Mountain. And you can see they included the bar PS for the cattle brand and the bar S for the horse brand. And there's a picture of us at the foot of Baldy hiking along the way. The next camp you come to, still at the foot of Baldy, is Miranda. And you can see where I pointed to it on the map with my arrow. Miranda is a really cool camp, has all the mountain men stuff. You can see the teepee in the picture. And we did a lot of tomahawk throwing and black powder shooting and all kind of neat stuff there at Miranda. And they have the mountain man patch. And you can see in his beard, they have the bar PS. Next, on down the trail is Head of Dean. Dean is a long, long canyon that goes through Philmont. And at the very top of it, they call it the head of it. They have a camp called Head of Dean. And there they have the challenge events. You can see the patch on the left. They have a climbing wall. And it's a wall where a patrol has to get the whole patrol over the wall. And they time it. And it's pretty cool. And they have other skilled events that patrols compete against each other there. So the left is the patch for Head of Dean, and the right is the challenge events. Once you've completed all the challenge events, you earn that patch. Then hike on down south and you come into Cimarron Soto. This is one of the biggest climbing walls, big rocks to climb on at Philmont. And you can see the patch is a carabiner, and you can see the bar PS in the rock inside the carabiner on the patch. And this was a pretty cool place for the guys to climb up and rappel back down. Just a little further south, just a little hike from Cimarron Soto. We didn't stay here, but this was a stop along the way as we headed south, is the hunting lodge. And this was a pretty cool lodge showing how the mountain men lived back in the day. And they showed us how to set traps and use the potbelly stove and all neat things. And the patch for the hunting lodge is a big old giant knife, Philmont knife. You can see the sheath and the knife and the bar PS and the bar S and the bull right there on the sheath. Then on down the trail, we actually didn't, I don't think anyone stays on the Tooth of Time. We set our packs up down at the base and hiked to the top. So you can see where Tooth of Time on the arrow is located. It's not too far from headquarters, and they usually have all the pictures done of all the crews with the Tooth of Time in the background. But here's our crew, and you can see me there in the middle, the gray hair, sunglasses, and my son has the light blue bandana around his head just to my left. And here's the patch for the Tooth of Time, given the elevation 9,003 feet high. And that was a fun excursion. They try to take as many treks to go over the Tooth of Time as they can. A little way south of Tooth of Time, we head down through Miners Camp. It also had a nice climbing rock that we climbed on. So it says it's climbing paradise, elevation 8,000 feet. You can see the cabin on the patch. It also has the New Mexico sun. I believe that's an Indian symbol for the sun of New Mexico. And as we hiked along the trail, we were told about Trail Peak. It wasn't where we camped. We set up our packs at the bottom of this peak, and somebody volunteered to stay and watch the packs while the rest of us climbed to the top, because at the top of this mountain, there's actually a wrecked airplane, a B24, where 7 military men actually lost their lives on April 22nd, 1942, trying to fly over these mountains. And among the 7 men that died, 1 was an Eagle Scout and 2 were former Star Scouts. And they have a plaque there on the top of the mountain among the wreckage. And I actually read that this is one of the world's most visited airplane crash sites. And I can imagine, with all the crews that pass by, take the little hike up to the top of this mountain to check it out, it could be the most visited site. And there you could see the patch. You could see that the airplane is ghosted into the patch, actually. And that peak is at 10,242 feet high. You can see the crew posing for a picture on the wing of the plane. Abreu Camp. This was a really cool camp that we hiked into. After a long day's hike, you can imagine the guys were really, really thirsty, and they had a cantina here, and we all bellied up to the bar. I got a picture of the bar there with the barrel bar stools, and they served us all root beer, and the boys had a blast sharing their root beers. This is an adobe building here, and you can see on the wooden door, they've branded into it the bar PS. And coming on in toward the bottom of the map, you can see we went to Zastrow. Now, on my 2009 trek, this is where we started, and it's a good place to start because there they trained you in map and compass. And you could see the patch for the map and compass, and they also trained us with the GPSs, and they have a patch for the GPS. So Zastrow is an excellent camp to come to learn all this, especially at the start of your trek, because you're going to definitely be using your map and compass along the way at Philmont. You can see on the GPS patch, they have the bar PS, and on the compass patch, they have the bar S. All right, that's the end of the trekking part with the maps, and I got a couple of extra patches that we earned at Philmont. The Duty to God patch is a pretty cool patch the boys like to earn, and there's several requirements that they have to pass to do that. They have to participate in some devotions, worship service somewhere along the trek, and they have to say grace. So we all take turns, so everyone has a chance to say grace at a meal, actually several times. They have to learn the Philmont grace, which is a pretty cool grace to learn. And if they've done all those, they've earned the Duty to God patch there at Philmont. And each year, Philmont designs a patch of the year. And this is the 2009 Philmont Adventure patch, and they titled it View from the Top. And I thought it was a pretty cool patch. And since that was the year I went, that's the patch I got. And a couple of other collectibles that I got from Philmont. I got a New Testament that includes Psalms and Proverbs. And you can see the little A Scout is Reverent Bible that I took along on the trek. And there is my Ford Edge with another collectible on the front. I have a Philmont Scout Ranch tag right there on the front of my car. So I proudly show off that I've been to Philmont.